My earliest recollection of your involvement with Calypso is 1981 Jungle Fever. Was this, in fact, your first year in Calypso?
That was my first recorded Calypso piece. But I was involved before that in Kitchener's Tent in the 70s, 78, 79 with Carl and Carol. So I would say that was my first real touch. Apart from working in the studios, in the recording studios as a backup vocalist for years. But I think stage-wise, I put that as my first experience with Kitchener.
Every man was whining, Tuesday morning, everyone agree. It was Red Bacchanal, it's Julius Python for the Cannibal.
Who wrote Jungle Fever and how did it come about?
Well, when in the 70s I began writing doing my own songs, recording my own songs, and early in the 80s when I was a freelance singer then, and I was hired by Charlie's Roots to hold on because Tambu wasn't well, that he was the singer with the band at the time. And when Tambu came back, I stayed with the band, and being a recording artist myself, and Pelham was also into recording, we decided to put our heads together and come up with a song for Peter Minshall's band. So I did the lyrics, he did the music, and that was Jungle Fever.
Well, 1983 was the start of the trilogy, and we came up with a little tune there for the first time around. Tell us something about 1983 and your involvement with the Minshall Band and Charlie's Roots.
Yeah, well, we decided, well, we won't have to make the mistake again of 82, of having things kind of coming on stream at a late stage. So we, that was the year, was the River, I think. Yeah,
yes, that was the River.
Right? Tambu sang it, and then was Kalaloo.
Kalaloo, come let me jam. Kalaloo, mix up and jam. Kalaloo, jam with your man. Kalaloo, come let me jam. Brother, between me and you, all that we is Kalaloo. Jam it till you're black and blue. All that we is Kalaloo. Come and do what thing to do. All that we is.
And then Calabash. Calabash was when things started to happen in a big sense. That year I came third in the road march with Calabash.
In fact, you had two tunes that year. You had Calabash and you had a tune called Jump Up, which was doing quite well in the party.
That's right. Jump Up and Calabash was very popular. I think that album was very successful because I think the Merchant album of that year, I think it was with Pan in Danger and so on. That was the best-selling album that year, and Calabash was the second best-selling. And then the momentum started from there with those two songs, Calabash and Jump Up.
In fact, not many people know this, but actually in that year, 1985, you had actually faced the judges as an unattached Calypsonian, and for some reason you were rejected. Do you recall that incident?
Yeah, that was at SWWTU Hall. I decided, the songs were popular, and I'll take them and see what would happen, but that wasn't the time.
Now, 1986, we know that was one of your big years when you copped the Young Kings, the Road March, and the National Monarch. How did you get together two tunes like The Hammer and Bahia in 1 year?
Well, I think the momentum of 85, when you have a momentum going, things usually happen, events come and take place to sort of, things just fall into the right groove. And 86, you just had, there's a feeling that this is the year for things to happen. I mean, I've been performing since 1965, you know, and 86 was like 21 years since I've been in business. So like, and, you know, 21 is like a symbol of coming of age. People say, well, you're a man when you're 21, 21 years and over, you know, things like that. You know, you go to a movie and it's like, you know, that number 21 was always the
magic.
Yeah. So that was my 21st year in the music. So, you know, that was like, all that feeling inside was like, this has to be something special this year. It's a vibe, and, you know, you seize the time.
Now the hammer, the angle you took, the lyrical content and so on, where did this come from?
Well, I think I think listening to all sorts of music over the years, having many experiences with different forms, I never limited myself to any particular thing, you know, and the different styles of writers and so on. I think in a broad sense, influenced the way I saw things. I saw life, you know. And maybe some part of me, even when I was a little kid, I always saw things in a different way to other people. You know, people would see a tree and I would see something else apart from the tree. You know, so I think that comes out in the way I create.
But here, girl, now, while the hammer was attractive to the panmen, but here, girl, caught the fancy of, let us say, the party goers in terms of really letting themselves go. But here, girl, how much of this was a true experience?
Well, basically, I had done that song. I met a Brazilian girl. She was from Rio, actually, at the Bootman's house many years ago. And her vibe was like so. It was very like much like a Trinidadian, but somehow the energy was a kind of advanced. And I sort of tapped onto that. And when I left that house that night and was driving home to Belmont, that melody came into my head. I went to sleep, and when I got up, it was still there. Now, usually when you have a vibe and you go to sleep, or someone might distract you. But by the time you get back to it, you lose it.
Then she start to tremble, she give me goose pimple. Soca and she samba, samba and she soca. I got to take off my shot was to show she me Trini brands. The woman just put on a smile as she damble, she samba dance. She had me in heaven, had your boy in hell. What that woman do to me, I just couldn't tell. All I know is she ring the bell with this. Pim 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 bamba. Riki bamba boom bang di ding de. Pim 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 bamba. Riki bamba boom bang di ding ding boom. Riki ding boom. Riki to gong di ding ding ding. Riki to gong di ding ding boom.
That's why I have that pim pim pim. You know, that was to try to keep in line with the crazy style. Which was originally written for. The melody was so strange that there was no other melody ever like that. So obviously a melody carries the most points in the competition. So that is maximum points there as far as I'm concerned.
Correct.
Right? Originality, there's no song like By a Girl, so that's maximum points. Mm-hmm. You know, rendition of the song.
You're not concerned.
I'm not concerned with that because I know that's the easiest part for me. Right? So all that's maximum points. So the only area to argue about was the lyric. Now the lyric itself, the verses were good lyrics, very strong lyrics in terms of what I wanted to say, right? Because people have this feeling that if a guy sings a political song and a guy sings a party song, the political song must get more than the party song. But it's really judging the song on the merit of what it is saying.
That is a fallacy.
Right? So you can have a bad political song and a guy has a good party song. So that part was easy for me. But so I think the people, what they were doing is like sifting through, when they realized what this thing's so dangerous, this thing could win. They had to sift through the two songs to see what's the Achilles heel in the song, you know, what is the weak spot. And the only thing you could come up with is that the chorus had no lyrics. But the chorus had a lyric. The chant itself
is a lyric.
Was the lyric. It's like an international language. Anywhere you could go in the world, I sing that song. People just could sing that. It was a language of its own. It was a lyric. That is what the girl was singing. She wasn't telling me words, well, we should do this and we should do that. She was singing that melody, and that's the melody that caught the people and influenced the whole vibe of the carnival. You know? So that was a lyric in itself.
Now, long after Carnival, those two tunes, whenever you appeared live, would always be something people would look forward to, and especially the hammer. You developed a style of putting over the hammer where you took people slowly up Lavantil. How did this new approach to singing the song come to you?
Well, it's the way I do songs all the time. Every time I sing a song, it never comes out the same way. I can't see myself doing a song and just you know, the same thing. It takes on a different meaning because it's about life. It's about the way I see myself and the way I create. I don't just create and write a lyric. I live everything I write. I live the lyric. So, just as everything in life, the Lavantil experience continues.
You all ready to travel with me? I want everybody to face these. We gonna sing the V's, all right? Lavantil, here we come. Lavantil, here we come. We're singing praises to your son, yeah. Oh, Lavantil, here we come, ding-a-ding. Lavantil, here we come, ding-a-ding. Lavantil, here we come. We're singing praises to your son, yeah. Oh, Lavantil, here we come, ding-a-ding. Here we come, ding-a-ding. Here we come, ding-a-ding. Here we come, ding-a-ding. Here we come, yeah. Oh, yeah, everybody sing. Somewhere up in Lavantil, many years ago, a man had a hammer, used to follow him to and fro. He used to use it to pound a pan, or sometimes a stupid man, all in the savannah, never miss panorama, no. One day the old hammer just disappeared. Oh, some say that it vanished into thin air. And with the man with the hammer gone. Tell me where he gone. Anybody know where the hammer gone? Tell me where he gone. Can you tell me what's going on? Tell me where he gone. I want to know where the hammer gone. Tell me where he gone. Why you up and leave? Why you make me grieve? Hammer, tell me flat. Why you do with that? Oh Lord, well the dragon don't walk the trail no more. Well the dragon don't walk the trail no more. No.
Now, the following year, 87, you had to defend your crown. You had beaten Black Stallion into second position, and no doubt he was looking for revenge. You got together two nice tunes, Calypso Music and Dedication. Let's talk about each one in turn. Calypso Music.
The Calypso Music was I composed that about 2 days after Carnival, when the whole debate about what is Calypso and things, you know, up in the air. So I just started to write about my feelings about what the music is to me, how I see it.
Can you hear a distant drum bouncing on the laughter of a melody? And does the rhythm tell you come, 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 come? Does your spirit do a dance to this symphony? Does it tell you that your heart is a fire? Or does it tell you that your pain is a liar? Does it wash away all the unlovely? Well, are you ready for a brand new discovery? Calypso, Calypso, Calypso music. Yeah, yeah, yeah. make you feel alright. We're gonna jam it through the night, singing oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah, oh yeah, Calypso. We're singing oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah, oh yeah, Calypso. I say that I am the seed of the growling tiger now. I've got to sing oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah, oh yeah, Calypso.
Now, on the night in question of Dimanche Gras, I got the impression, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, that you might have been a little bit hoarse because your rendition of Calypso music that night, you didn't seem to be going for the higher notes. In fact, you were singing like the lower octaves.
Yeah, especially in dedication. It was really a weird night. And a flu was coming on, but it actually sort of like struck me down that week. And that night we sort of like, it's something I don't like to do, but it was so bad that I had to take some antibiotics to sort of clear up my passages and so. Gary says, look, you see your condition, you better go and lie down in my car and cool off. And then he put on the air conditioning unit and he put up the glass because the savannah was real dusty. So I used to drop asleep in the car. And then I was knocking on the door and they said, well, competition go and start. And I come out and I can't talk. I can't talk, I can't say, I just can't say a word. Get on the stage. And maybe it's just the energy of knowing that I have to sing. My voice come out on the stage, but I didn't want a chance trying to go up and hit no bad notes and the crack and thing, and you see. So I just sang safely. I sang precisely what I sang for the technical aspect of the competition, where the judges would say they listen for every single word. The rendition was okay, the diction was clear, but I couldn't really bring out my natural energy to sing the way I wanted to sing.
Yeah, you couldn't open up and
right.
This world can be yours and mine.
Why did you stop entering competition after that year?
Well, to me, my whole life was like it's a process of growth and movement, right? I'm a mover and a shifter, like, you know, and I feel that the competition was good for me in the sense that it was time for me to make the great leap forward, right? To put myself on a bigger setting with people on a bigger stage, you know, and that served its purpose. And to me, that was like, I have done this. Now let me go out and trod through the world, you know.
You're getting out of competition, you're now starting to work on your own material, and you did a song called Haiti, where right away people said, well, it's a good thing you're not going up for competition because that ain't no Calypso. What was your reaction to those statements?
Well, it's a funny thing in Trinidad with people. Since '86 to now, it's amazing that I have been the same people sometimes each year from '86 to now, which is like six years old, right? They come every year and say, you know, at first I find that meaning like that, you know, and but after I kind of get into it.
Get to like it, yeah.
So I always say, well, if you know you said that last year, why not say, well, last year I said so, and I started to like it. So maybe I should sit back and listen and check and see how I feel about it before I say anything. But it's a weird thing that every year people come and say the same thing. Well, that ain't Calypso, and that is not this, and that is not the other. And they always look for a song that's a bit different. Like that album was like, the Haiti album was so far is my most successful album.
Correct.
Worldwide, yeah? I mean, you had the Engine Room. They didn't talk about that. Panama, you know, it's like Bacchanal Lady, Rally Round the West Indies, Haiti.
To say was a mighty man, and to make matters worse, he was black. Black and back in the days when black men knew their place was in the back. But this rebel, he walked through Napoleon, who thought it wasn't very nice. And so today, my brothers in Haiti, they still pay the price, yeah. Haiti, I'm sorry. the steps can't run them. They're somewhere in Panama. So I, going to Panama. I got to go to Panama, mama. What is it they have over here? Making treaty just gone with. Some say that they're gone with. Some say that it's stands up. I heard the mention. I got the mention. I don't like old talk. I'm taking a walk, look, I'm done by 2 people wrong. Partner, stamp the passport, Panama, here I come. And everything's not the fraud, everything's not the fault. Everything was made to see the engine room. It's not the way that's caused the bacchanal. I said the fan is the body, but the rhythm is hard and the thing. The engine room, that is the soul of carnival. Go with it damn well, so if you're and good, you will scream. Jam it! And people say she is a tramp. But when she catch them in she atmosphere, she goes shake them simple scat. And a lady, what it is you hide behind your eyes? And a lady, come on baby with your sweet surprise. And a woman, won't you come? Let some love.
Right. You know, we had about 5 songs that were like hits as people describe.
In fact, Bacchanal Lady. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything bigger than that.
Right. Panama. Right.
Panama.
Engine Room. You know, and these songs, this album is like, I still do these songs that are like fresh now, you know. Mm-hmm. Like all these songs, I can do them and it's like I haven't done them before. It's like they're new. You know, they feel that way, the people.
And despite the fact that you were not in competition, you were in great demand that year, because I remember you moving 3-4 places in one night. People waiting to hear you sing Panama and Bacchanal Lady back to back. Yeah. And your performance of Bacchanal Lady, I mean, every time I heard you was a different approach to it.
Yeah, that's what, like, I always try to...
What's the most Bacchanal Lady you ever got a crowd to sing?
Well, we went to Bacchanal a Million one time. But it was like we went like... we went in the hundreds of thousands, you know? But it's like, I think it's 100. 100.
Bacchanal 100. I heard Tommy Joseph do a Bacchanal from A to Z once.
Yeah. We do Bacchanal all over.
16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
You did One More Officer and Song for a Lonely Soul. And in many ways, it was coming after the Haiti album, not as big a year for you. In fact, One More Officer was a tune that most people seem to be waiting for, but it seemed to have come out just too late to attract most of the pan men. Tell us how that year went for you.
That's my worst year in since I've been since '86. The Power and the Glory album is my best album. Period. Right? It's my most powerful album to date. A lot of like some of the guys who work with me with that album said, well, like some Jumbie was there that year. The album just went. I mean, I sort of in the studio, I was giving other fellas time to finish their record. It was just like a whole lot of chaos. Still, I just sort of like left it, and I poured so much energy into that album. I came back to Trinidad to do the 1990 album, the South Africa album.
Right.
And when I got to Trinidad, the rage of the country, people were so much a rage was happening. I decided to write do an album, to remind people that, you know, there's still some beauty and some life here, the power and the glory under all the rage.
Right.
And I started to paint sort of images of Trinidad, Super Island. I had pledged to the TNTFA that I was going to write a song for the football team, and I wrote Trinidad Boys long before they even dream about even reaching so far in the World Cup. Song for a Lonely Soul.
Oh, how I long for island breezes and to see my woman roll like a steel drum solo ringing through a Calypso night. Don't get me wrong, this big city really made a man of me. drum can't play no calypso. No, 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 no. So I'm saying, soca music, take me, won't you take me back to my island. Oh, give me the tango. Soca music, take me, won't you take me back to my island.
Well, we come next to a tune, 1990, which maybe if we had to pick a best of Rudder, we certainly can't leave 1990 out. Let's talk about especially the lyrical content. Let's just got the first verse, for example, how you introduced this 1990.
Well, 1990, actually, I wrote that in the early '89. I think it was in Vancouver, in Canada. We went to do a show there, and I had the idea in my head all the time, looking at all the events that were taking place in the world, Europe becoming one nation, and the whole things were starting to change. The whole world was starting to turn around, and I had the ideas in my head. And then we were in a music shop, and we were going to rent some equipment to play that night. And I started to play a vibe. Ba ba bang, ba bang, ba ba bang, ba ba bang, ba bang, ba bang, ba ba bang, ba ba bang. And I just said, that is the melody for 1990. Went back to the hotel and wrote the song, It was like a rush, I know when the songs come out like that, it's like, people always say, what is your favorite song and what is the best song you've ever written? And I would say, well, I really don't have a favorite song because for every song, I put the same amount of energy in each piece. But 1990, I think maybe the way the rush came about. Calypso music was like that too, but not like 1990. The really rush came about. It was like, I would say if there was one song that has an edge, that song, that was the one.
Let's go through the lyrics of the first verse, because I think, some of it is sheer poetry.
Yeah, well, I started it, actually, I tried to, when I started to create the image of the song for the studio itself, I checked the two main groups in our society, Africa and East India. Right, the song ends up with a lot of shango drumming at the end of the song,
right.
And it starts with a sitar, right, and the chant at the top is actually the old lang syne. It's the voice of the third world man crying out, well, okay, the world changing, but what about me? Da da da, I forgot in days of old lang syne. Is that how the chant? That's what the chant is. Actually, low lang syne, but my image was a fella in India chant the first line yeah, right, and then it's picked up by somebody out in Indian in South America in the Amazon,
right,
and he answers yeah. That's why I put it in each one voice is in one stereo,
right.
And you hear the next one, pan it, the next and pan it, and then it goes straight across to Africa, and I fell on the plains of Africa, yeah. Yeah, and then it goes across to Australia with Aborigine, poem on top of Ayers Rock, and he say yeah. So four corners of the third world man crying out to each other, right? Singing old lang syne in a mournful way, they're chanting it, right. Chanting this new era of whatever.
Nuclear war, do I see it on down? And there's an army in retreat. I see the old colonials of Europe become united, and perestroika fills the street. I see the eagle sitting on the shoulder of the bear, or maybe it's the other way around. Is this the calm before the hellfire, or is our tomorrow really heaven bound? But 1990, the blood still flows in Bogota, and from Beirut to Johannesburg, the river don't stop. 1990, third world children still wander in their boats, their jungles, their deserts, until they drop. It is strange, the more we change, rearrange, say?
So did you have any idea that tune like Enough Respect this year would have even had people chipping along on the road?
Yeah, it has the same feel as Bayagil. I feel that vibe and timing and the way people see things create a road march. People still feel that people control a road march, but I feel a road march is actually still a people feeling. This is what we like for the road, you know what I mean? Like, I feel that like if in '86 I had Enough Respect and Hammer, Enough Respect would have been the road march. Mm-hmm. It is that kind of, that people be going on go singing, say yes. It's
Begging you, say yes, come to do. Say yes, come on. Say yes, oh baby, come. Say yes, I'm begging you. Say yes, then we said it's no more. She said, oh, we may frenzy. I said, yes, I wouldn't think of it. On the contrary, I come out and love it up a bit. 10 billion bullets are wet love. Now I'm the city want to laugh, but I see she body tremble. Father thanks, they want us not in harm. Say thanks to turn around, and that only made things worse. But what I see make body cold. Trying to hide she back and I where she goes. I said, look, you move your hand and then I ball you. All I know is I'm feeling that you give me, Lord, they don't so sweet. See that you see this, it's so complete. And the feeling of the feeling, Lord, they don't so high. It's the way that you give me, I'm gonna give me now. What do you say? Yeah, I really got to know you, I really got to show you what. I'm trying to be cool, but you know how you move it. Got a fire for you and I well want to flaunt it. But the girl, let me tell you, do you have to want it? So baby, come on, what?
And Rough and Ready seem to be making a late bid on the outside too as well.
Yeah, Rough and Ready is I mean on the road, like people come back after like Carnival Tuesday night and say, you know, Rough and Ready and Black Man Free the Party was the two tunes that feel the best on the road. Mm-hmm. You know? That's what makes Rough and Ready popular after Carnival, you know. The Carnival Monday and Tuesday on the road. People start to when they start, you know, now it's jam down time.
Now it's jam down time.